Yep, hi all, good afternoon, here we go. Yes, the next job on my Subaru Impreza WR1 STI is to replace this universal steering joint, which, first of all actually, it's from ICP, genuine one, there's the part number just there. Now, the STI models have this fixed one here, the WRX models have I believe, the same length, same fitment I believe, with a rubber sort of dampener just of here where these purple marks are. I believe that both of them are compatible with each other, but obviously this one is more like direct feel. This is like the STI one, the sort of slimmed down version basically. So that's it there. Situation I found with my car is that when I'm doing 70 miles per hour on the road, or 80, 90 around a track, let's just say around a track, I was finding I was getting play, such as this for example. So I'm going along about 70 and I'm finding I'm having to do sort of very, very, very small constant corrections to the steering. If I turn and bend, it's fine, but otherwise I have to do constant sort of corrections, and I'm planning on taking this abroad, going on long holidays, etc, etc. So I want to sort of always want the car as optimal as I can get it. I'm aware the car's 21 years old, obviously. I'm also very, very aware that there's of course loads of other components that can be worn out and knackered in the whole system, causing such play, such as ball joints, the rubber brackets for the steering rack itself, various bushes, all this sort of stuff. There's loads of stuff basically, but underneath I've replaced most things over the last few years, and I had the MOT yesterday and they said everything looks good and all that. Now I know that there is play in my universal joints. When I got the car, the universal joint is just above the turbocharger, I'll show you in a minute, and I noticed that it was basically rusty. So it's all bone dry and rusty. Now I'm not expecting it to be completely covered in grease, but it was literally bone dry and rusty. So that might have damaged something. And what I found is I've got my wife to sit inside the car, because you did a two-person job. I was under the bonnet having a good look. And when she's doing this tiny little movements here, I could see that, for example, like this part here was moving, and there was some play in this joint. So this part here wasn't moving. So I kind of feel that there should be probably zero play. But and remember, this car's 21 years old as well. So this could be the cause of my problem, or this might help, or it might do absolutely nothing. I don't know, but either way I'm going to put this in. So this part here is basically 200 quid, no, 190 quid basically delivered from ICP for a genuine one. Obviously you can buy second-hand ones and all the rest of it, but unless yours is blatantly absolutely knackered, then you could go for a better second-hand one, otherwise just buy a new one. Right, so the part itself is right there. That's obviously the top section, and the bottom part is just there below the turbocharger. Now, there's not much room clearly, but I know that where I've taken the steering rack off before to get it all powder coated, blasted, but I put new rubber bushings in, of course, steering rack, etc., steering rack mounts, that sort of stuff. I know that you can access obviously the bottom bolt from underneath, so I'm thinking it's probably much easier to access it from underneath the car. So I'm going to jack up the car in a minute, and I'm just going to remove like this one wheel just to get a bit extra clearance so I can get in and out. That's all. I feel that's best option. And also having it in the air as well means then of course you can turn the steering wheel, to take the ignition and lock off, have the steering wheel ready, and you can then move it, and then you can move it to shimmy this thing out. Now, looking closely at this, it goes on, I believe it will go on literally onto one precise way, and that's it. So you've got splines there and a big fat one at the bottom, so therefore it can only go in one position, which is good. And again, same for this one here. On this end here, you've got two fixed splines either side, so again that can only go on one place. Now, one thing to be aware of, and I had this yesterday when I did my Fiat 500 one, which is similar to this but much longer, is that when I checked the original part versus my new part, see I lined it up at the bottom. This was this angle, and the new one was at that angle, so slightly different angles. Therefore, it put my steering out, and I then need to get my steering, the tracking reset for the steering wheel to be straight. So that's something that might happen. So when I get out the old parts, I'll compare it to this one. If it's exactly the same, then that means I shouldn't need to do any of the tracking to re-centralize the steering wheel. It could be as well on the WR1 that the steering wheel is purely on straight splines. But if, like the Fiat, it has, it only goes on one way because of a fixed spline, then obviously I might have to get the steering tracked at the front. But I'll come to that point in a minute and tell you all what happens. Right, let me get the car up on axle stands, get the wheel off, and then the pleasure of lying underneath the car and undoing these bolts. The plan is to undo both bolts, then enough to slide it downwards, undo one end, set it upwards, undo the other end, job done. Take it out, compare it, put a new one in. Hopefully that's it. We shall see. Thank you. Let's go. Right then, yeah. So first thing, jack the thing up. So I've got 2 jacks underneath there, plus 2 axle stands, one under the side sill on a proper rubber block. That obviously suits the sills, and another jack there under the part of the frame. Boom. Ignition on. That way I can turn the wheels, etc. But obviously taken off this wheel here, so I can get in and out much easier and get a bit of daylight, etc. as well. And boom, look at those Brembos looking freaking awesome. Godspeed, thank you for that. But yeah, it's looking pretty fabulous in there. Now I'm interested to see at the end of this what the play is like. So as you see right now, I have that. I bet you I'll have the same thing, but I guess the main thing will be when I'm driving it. But I'm wobbling the steering wheel now. See, and nothing at all is moving with that little bit of wobble. Okay, right. Anyway, time to basically get underneath there and get the joint. Right, yeah. So I just removed the upper bolt. In keeping with Subaru, it's a 12mm. Now, this is sort of for people's information and my information as well. If I go down there, I haven't obviously touched anything there, so I removed the part which is just sort of there at the top, and you can see there that the spline shaft just sits just protruding into the middle. It's this. I've got a screwdriver, but that point just there on the right hand side I'm trying to point to. So that's the sort of level it needs to push on, that the UJ needs to push on to that spline shaft by. Okay, that's good, that's good. Right, let me get underneath then and undo the bottom one. Now I'm going to try and film underneath. I mean, I'm literally like lying flat on my back. So you can see there is the 2 pink marks at the top, plus the bit of the bolt that I just opened up. Pan down here, and we can see the bottom part there. So I've got hardly any room at all. So if I pull the wheel towards me, if I can. No, I can't. Okay, I will be able to, but not one-handed. So yeah, the idea is in a minute I'm going to spin it round and get access to that bolt, and then I can remove that bolt, which is probably a 12mm I expect, and then hopefully then pull this shaft down and then up. I can't see because I can't focus from here, but yeah, let's have a little look and see. I need to pause it just there. Now that bolt came out lovely. That's the one I'd taken out before when I removed the steering rack, so I could do all the subframe and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that is that one there. So I'm obviously going to have to pause it now and try and get this out. Hopefully, I can't beautifully, but at least I can see there it's got, you know, nice and straight onto that, and remember it's got splines on the UJ as well. And I can't tell if that's visible or even in focus because I'm literally holding it next to my face. But yeah, what I did basically is I was able just to get the hammer underneath here and just tap the just above the oh, there it is. Where is it? Is it there? Yeah, I was able to tap just above the 2 pink lines, that head part there, and just tap it upwards onto those splines, and then it simply just released at the bottom just there. And then naturally it just turned itself into that position there. So I'm now going to tap it down, take that part off. Right, yeah, so let's have a quick look at the parts then, if I zoom in slightly. Cool, so yeah, old one versus the new one. Now, the orientation, I've just checked it, the orientation is the same on both, which is really, really great news. I mean, it looks exactly the same, so that's sweet. That means I shouldn't need to adjust any of the tracking, etc. Obviously this one here is very easy to move as expected, of course. So yeah, I mean, sometimes when you see these are absolutely obviously completely knackered. This one here probably isn't knackered. Remember, I've only gotten a tiny amount of play at speed. It's not like noticeable around town. And it's hard to tell. I mean, once I put it in the vise, maybe later, and I clamp it in and I move it around, we'll see. But for now I need to get this done by 6 o'clock, so I need to crack on and get the new part in. But yeah, the main thing is that side by side they look to be exactly the same. Yeah, they look to be exactly the same. Right, let me get this in. Right, yes, so unfortunately the top one can only go in one way, that's fine, but the bottom one can actually be, because it's got those two larger spline cutouts, they actually just cover the smaller splines. What it means is that the bottom one can go on in any position. So when I obviously took the bottom one off, then I started to take the top one off. No, that's right, I took the bottom one off, then the steering wheel naturally just sort of swang around like that because of the weight of the UJ. And then I took the top one off, and then obviously when I put it back on again and sort of span it around, I didn't know exactly where the position it was, unfortunately. So what I've done is I put the wheels, brakes, what looks like dead straight, put the steering wheel dead straight, connected it up to roughly the position where it was, and I think that's all I can do for the moment. So. Right, and again, I don't know how well you can see that at all, but yeah, new part is in. Easy actually to do it from underneath, actually, to be fair. So I just used a very long extension, couple of long extensions, basically to get to the top bolt, sorry, and the bottom one I just needed, you know what I mean, like a sort of 6-inch extension, that kind of thing. It's only in the manuals, it's only like I think it was 24 Nm, but I'll check that in a minute just to give you the exact number. But yeah, not particularly tight. Right, yeah, to be precise on the Torx, it's steering joint U-shaft pinch bolts, 17-inch pounds or 24 Nm. Now I don't know if it's absolute fluky fate or whatever, but literally the car and the steering wheel is absolutely perfect. So I'm guessing I must have just installed it, you know, by luck in what I guesstimated to be the correct place on the lower one. Obviously, if I'd realised that the lower bolt that went onto the steering rack obviously had a sort of indent all the way around, you know, for the bolt to go into and lock against. If I realised that, obviously, because you know, obviously you can't tell that until you take it off, then of course I would then have installed, so then put a bit of paint on it. So I made sure I get the new one in exactly the right place. So yeah, I'd suggest put a bit of paint on the lower part, on the actual spline part versus the bracket that you're removing. That way you can make sure that when you put it on the bottom part, you get it lined up with the new one in the exact same place. But yeah, absolutely sweet. But yeah, totally sweet, dead freaking straight. So that is amazing and wonderful, and honestly, not a difficult job. I will come back in a moment and just once the car's back in the garage and quickly summarise. Yes, final bit. So yeah, I've just put it in the vice, just have a little feel if there's any plain anything. And honestly, there was on this end here, and this end here actually, there was just I don't know if you can see or not, but I can feel a tiny bit of rocking. That's all. I mean, it's really minuscule, and it's the same as the other end. So I feel that this is in pretty good condition, I would say. Otherwise, yeah, it operates very nice. But the new one's in now, so yeah, that's cool. Yes, there we are, all done, absolutely sweet. And like I say, I don't know if it's just pure fluke that I got the bottom one lined up and the steering is absolutely straight, I'm not sure, but either way it's really good. So yeah, I would definitely say it's not a difficult job, definitely need to do it from underneath. Well, you have to do it from underneath, certainly to reach the bottom one. Definitely mark it, the bottom one, and you might as well mark the top one to your hair as well, just with a blob of like nail polish or paint or whatever you need to use. That way you can certainly get the bottom one lined up in the correct position on the spline, so that's definitely important. Otherwise, yeah, not difficult at all on that particular model. Thank you, cheers.